Well, good morning. It's your Arkansas Weather Network weekend update, and boy, do we have a lot to watch in the forecast. We've got cold air on deck. We've got a couple more shots to go after the cold air that has arrived this weekend. Most notably is going to be the Arctic air that we're expecting next weekend. But of course, for Sunday morning, if you're watching this on Sunday afternoon, it's already occurred. But for Sunday morning, low temperatures are going to be down in the low 20s or upper teens for most of the state, maybe even low teens up in North Arkansas. It's just going to be a very busy time. I think we're finally going to see chances for precipitation. I think there's a shot for some winter weather down the road into next weekend. We'll also look at the precipitation chances as we get into the upcoming week. So after lows on Sunday morning bottom out in the teens for most of us, we'll see those high temperatures, and there's a look at the wind chills first. Wind chills will be just a little bit cooler than the actual low temperature. Bundle up if you're headed outside on Sunday morning. We're going to see those high temperatures on Sunday get up into the 30s and 40s, and I'll go ahead and kind of preview the week for you. It's going to be cold on Monday. Temperatures likely not getting out of the 30s. Tuesday, back into the low 20s. And then it is a gradual warm-up all week long. I think we see us get into the 40s, mid-40s by Wednesday afternoon, maybe Thursday as well. Friday and Saturday to round out the week, we're probably headed back into the 50s, and that's due to the south winds that we will have. Once you get to this point, next weekend, there's going to be a lot of Arctic air staging to the northwest, and that's our next big shot of Arctic air. As you look at high temperatures on your Sunday, they are going to be in the 40s for most of us. I think Monday is going to be a little bit of a colder day. And let's look at our next chance for precipitation. There's the front that arrives on Sunday. It's going to keep us cold for several more days into that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. But as we get into the middle of the week, there is a system that's going to approach from the southwest, and that's going to bring us our next chance for precipitation. It doesn't look like heavy rain, and you look at the temperatures as precipitation begins to increase, and you think, wow, well, shouldn't there be a chance for winter weather here? I think it's just going to be a little bit too warm. I think this could impact more of the state, but I think by the time the coldest air arrives on Thursday morning, the precipitation is gone. That's not to say we couldn't see some of this mix with snow or sleet, but I really think this is not going to be a winter weather event Wednesday into Thursday. I think if we're going to see a winter weather event, the chances are that it's going to happen between the 24th and the 28th, and I'll show you why in just a moment. As we round out the end of this upcoming week, like I said, those temperatures are going to head for the 50s. Southerly winds are going to be back for at least a couple of days. And then all of our attention will turn towards the cold air that's building towards the north. By next Friday, look towards the north. This is true Arctic air that's building on the eastern side of the Rockies and up in the northern plains, and it's going to dive south by the time we get towards next Friday and Saturday, probably reaching Arkansas late next Saturday into next Sunday. The timing on that can change, but look at what happens. It does end up reaching the southern plains, and while the core of it may stay to our north or northeast, keeping the most extreme cold away from Arkansas, it is going to get really cold. I think it could result in a couple of days below freezing, and I think there's even the chance that we have a system that tries to ride this this temperature gradient right here that could result in winter weather, because winter storms don't show up in the middle of the cold air mass. They show up on the edge of the cold air mass. That's where you find your big storm systems. So here's the temperature trend the next 10 days. Remember, you can use the Arkansas Weather Network app to get these numbers at your location. Very cold to kick off the week, gradually warming up into the 50s, maybe some 60s in advance of the Arctic front next weekend. And then look behind that. There's some very cold days on the way, and I think that data could be a little bit too warm. Some indications are that they're in the core of this Arctic air mass, there could be a day or two that's below freezing. So as you look at the raw model data, this is the Saturday midday ensemble data that's dropped, and it's showing you the cold air here for the weekend, the gradual warm up that I was just showing you. And then beyond that, right at next weekend, it's showing you temperatures going below freezing at night for several days and highs in the low 40s. Now I want to point something out. That's not exactly what's going to happen. This is just showing us it's a window into what could happen. And what I mean by that is I don't expect the high temperature to be 47 on Sunday and 43 on Monday. I think what it's actually going to be is much colder, because that's what the data is hinting at. It's going to be much, much colder by the time we get there. Precipitation chances as you get towards Wednesday, there's that very light chance of rain. And then you see there's another system right around January 25th to 26th. Does that include any snowfall? The ensemble data really says no for most of us. But what I want to point out is that as this cold air mass builds towards the northwest, There it is next Sunday. This is temperature anomalies. You see the cold air building in the Rockies, and it eventually dives towards the south. It's a pretty standard setup. If we're going to have a system right around January 25th, 26th, kind of riding the southern end of this Arctic air, it's pretty standard that this is going to result in ice for somebody, not just all snow. I say for somebody because at this range, more than a week out, there's no way to tell if there's going to be a big winter storm at a pinpoint location. There is a good probability, though, for us to say that someone in the southern or central U.S. is going to get a winter storm, and that's a very, very large area. I mean, you could be talking from Texas to Ohio, somewhere in that range. So it's not pinpoint, but it is something where you can say weather's going to get a lot busier. You see the temperature anomalies as we go towards next weekend and that last few days of the month. Those temperature anomalies right there on this model are more than 10 degrees below average. And while that doesn't seem like a lot, if the average high is in the low to mid 40s, well, then your highs are at minimum down in the 30s. And I think when you get to it, it ends up being a lot colder than that because the model data will adjust colder as the Arctic air mass gets closer and closer. So all that to say, expect it to feel like winter over the next week. I don't think we're dealing with winter weather Wednesday into Thursday, even though there were some indications of that when we looked at the data yesterday. I think if we're going to see winter weather this month, it happens between Saturday and Tuesday next week. So that's what we're going to be watching this week. I encourage you to do the same. Follow Zachary Hall, Arkansas Storm Tracker, meteorologist Blaise Thomas, or myself, meteorologist James Bryant, and download the Arkansas Weather Network app. It gives you access to all of us, our streaming channel, and our latest forecast. We drop that on YouTube and Facebook daily. Otherwise, enjoy the weekend and bundle up as we encounter that cold air over the next few days.